So I want to check out today my man Barry Keoghan. Barry Keoghan issues a scathing response to trolls after deleting his Instagram. Absolute lies, hatred, disgusting commentary. Hey, what's good, family? First and foremost, if it's on this channel, it has to do with the brain, mind, human nature, study of patterns, universal law, principles, anything in the progression of the inner world, the spiritual nature. You can call it new age, you can call it whatever, call it anything but fake and false, like the religions and dogmas that have been offered and peddled to us over ages of time. But we just pretend that the time that exists before the time that has been accounted for didn't happen. So look, man, I do want to start looking at some of these stories that are in front of us, that we're digesting in a way that does not edify us at all. We're digesting it as gossip. We're digesting it as pop culture, media coverage that's in front of us as we scrolling on our phones. And all I'm saying is we can put some context to that too. All I'm saying is when we look at other people, the foolishness and dysfunction that we can see in their actions and hear in their words doesn't necessarily belong to them. It belongs to us. They are our reflection. We are here observing ourselves in many different forms and fashions. So my main man, Barry Keoghan, man, Barry found himself in a relationship with none other than Sabrina Carpenter, who apparently is some type of Beyonce, because when she got her heart broke, when this man reportedly cheated on her and was found to be out and about with an internet sensation that was not Sabrina, the loyal Carpenters got up, just like the Beehive would have, and they got on Barry's ass. They gave him the business. They told him what he was. They told him where he can go. They told him what they were going to do to him. And Barry didn't like that. So Barry jumps on X, and he releases a press release. And this is where the value for you and I comes in. This is where it is no longer the gossip or the backstory. It is a chance to see the dysfunction of yourself on somebody else because you refuse to see it on yourself. Okay? So understand, as I break down his press release, I'm not breaking down Barry Keoghan's weak mentality. I'm breaking down the weak mentality inside of Barry's presentation that I identify from my own weak moments, from my own knee-jerk reactions and my own emotional immaturity. So let's look at it. I can only sit and take so much. Lie. First of all, you don't know how much you can take. You just know how much you've been willing to take. And for a long time, you've only been willing to take so much. And that's probably connected to why you've only gotten so far. Just saying. I can only sit and take so much. My name has been dragged across the internet in ways I usually don't respond to. You're a celebrity, Barry. Now let's take Barry out of the picture. If people are on the internet talking about you, first of all, you wouldn't even know that people were on a social media outlet talking about you if you weren't on the social media outlet yourself. Which is why Barry decided to excuse himself from the conversation while he was having his temper tantrum. But since you've already found yourself in the room, you've already found yourself on the platform for reasons of your own. Maybe you have a business that you're pursuing and you need a social presence, like Barry. Maybe you're a public figure and you need your messages and your ideas to be accessible to the public, like Barry. Maybe you're just trying to stay connected to people that you no longer live in close physical proximity to. And the internet allows for you to navigate those relationships without the use of geographical terrain. And while all of this is going on, you mean to tell me somewhere in this same enormous digital room, there's a conversation, a derogatory conversation going on about me. And I'm affected? I should not be. I shouldn't even be aware that there's a conversation in my absence about my lack of goodness. Because on my mind should be my goodness, my awareness of my eternal goodness that's tied to my identity that comes from my good creator. I have to respond now because it's getting to a place where there are too many lines being crossed. Lies. You do understand that when you determine that people have crossed the line, all they have done is went against your preferences, correct? You do understand that when you've decided that it's been taken too far, you've literally just been the victim of another person's free will of expression and the extent that they are willing to take it. You do understand that lines being crossed because of words being expressed on a digital experience is a little shaky, right? But don't act like that towards Barry, because you know you get like that too. You know you've had conversations on the internet that have spilled over into your physical world. You know you've had opinions of yourself on the internet from people who don't know you affect you in ways and cause you to act insecurely and try to present yourself around the people who can see you in ways that they have never even imagined you to be. It wasn't them that said it. It was somebody 1,000 miles away that ain't never met you, seen you, or even thought about you for real. They just responded to them words that they disagreed with on the post that you was talking on. I deactivated my account because I can no longer let this stuff distract me from my family and my work. I'm sorry, Barry, but the conversations that were going on that you did not have to pay attention to, just like the conversations going on around me that I do not have to pay attention to, that do not edify me, uplift me, and encourage me in any way, I do not have to give them my attention. And if I don't give them my attention, then they cannot take the attention away from the things that I say that my attention should be on because I want it to be on it. Your attention can't be on your family and your friends and your work if somebody having a conversation about something that you did or something that you didn't do that they think you did is causing you to turn your head and get involved and have emotional reactions to what's being said. You're not focused from the jump. It's not that they are messing up your focus. It's not that they are creating an environment that is indicative to you no longer being able to focus. You never were focused, and that's why you're affected. If you were focused, you wouldn't be affected, and it wouldn't matter. Again, don't act like that towards Barry, because you constantly exhibit these same dysfunctional ways. Man, dang, you made me drop my stuff. How? It was in your hand. Oh, man, move. You almost made me. Me getting closer to your anatomy and you deciding to turn your head to the point that you almost led yourself to impending doom is not a reflection of what I chose to do with my earth. Understand that everything that the people do and say around you is not about you. Some people stood closer to you because there was nowhere to stand on the other side. Some people spoke to you because they had something to say and you were the closest person in proximity. Some people didn't say anything to you, not because they thought you were weird, not because they didn't like you, or they thought your appearance didn't suffice or wasn't sufficient for their word presentation. Some people be dealing with so much on their own, inside of themselves, in their own head, that they can't even find the words or they can't open their mouth and release them. It's not always about you. It's really, in the external sense, pertaining to other individuals, never about you. Even the good that people extend towards you, they're extending the goodness towards you out of a love within themselves. They love themselves so much that they are compelled to extend themselves to you. Not in the ways that you ask, not in the ways that you demand, not in the ways that you can try to control and dictate, in the ways that they choose. Anyway, the messages I have received, no person should ever have to read them. You didn't have to read them. You don't have to read anything that comes to your inbox, anything that comes to your DM, anything that crosses your palate, anything that you get a taste of, anything in your sight, anything within your senses, inner senses, external senses, spiritual senses, anything. You don't have to interact with it. You don't have to engage with it. You didn't have to grab hold to that thought until that thought became a fourth dimensional demon inside of you that you can't see, but is constantly tormenting you. Not because demons are sent down from or sent up from where they were cast down to, because of a conditional God kicking them out of a external heaven and leaving them here unaffected when he came to heal and change the whole cosmos. No, this is your weird thinking. This is you focusing on negativity until it vibrates so hard that it actually forms figures on planes that are not ran by matter. Oh man. Dragging my character. Absolute lies, hatred, disgusting commentary about my appearance, my character, how I am as a parent, and every other inhumane thing you can imagine. First of all, I guarantee you that the people did not say every other inhumane thing we can imagine. That's just how we talk in these weird, all-consuming words. You always lying. You don't never do me. You don't never do nothing. They might be lethargic. They may be a little lazy. That person might run their mouth consistently or even on a regular basis, quite frequently, if we're being technical. But to say that somebody is always doing something, that's to say that they do it without ceasing. Every time you see them, every time you encounter them, they're doing it. And if that's the case, then why do you continue to take yourself around that person? They didn't say every inhumane thing to this person. For one, there are things that don't apply to him that apply to other people that can be said derogatorily or inhumane. And these people don't have millions of dollars. I ain't trying to make nobody else a victim. I ain't trying to say none of that. What I'm saying is, it was things said to my ancestors. It was things said to your ancestors, and that were not said to him because they don't apply. And they were what he would consider to be inhumane. But the crazy thing is, what he's calling inhumane, someone expressing an opinion about his character, his appearance, that's taking place every day amongst humans. It's really, really in the human way. So I'm not really sure why we so quickly take our code of ethics and our principles, bases, and laws on the inside of ourselves and try to apply them to an external world that does not have to live or submit to them at all. Dragging my character and everything I worked extremely hard for and stand for, talking about how I am a heroin baby and how I grew up, and dragging my dear mother into it also. Knocking on my granny's door. For one, if you are a heroin baby, I'm not saying your mother's not dear, but if they're talking about you being a heroin baby and they're dragging your mother into it inside of that context, then I mean, technically she was definitely not the most responsible, accountable being when that was taking place. Sitting outside my baby's house, intimidating them. That's crossing a line. It's definitely crossing a line. Going to my granny though, going to my baby house. Yeah. See, Barry Keoghan has a bag. So that's when certain colloquialisms like "don't threaten me with a good time" come up. Like, I'm really a born tactician, and I know how to handle this, and this is not gonna frustrate me. I might need to deactivate my Instagram to do what I'm doing too, but trust and believe, I ain't deactivating because my feelings hurt. Each and every day I work harder to push myself on every level to be the healthiest and strongest person for that boy. A lot of y'all tell yourself that too. I used to tell myself that too. I want to be the best me for somebody else. And until you accept that you are the best you, and you ain't got no choice but to be, because that's what you were created to be, and the only other thing you could be is something unnatural, a monster. You ain't gonna be the best you for nobody. Understand it's going to be days that you don't feel like going, and trying to use how you feel about somebody else, or how somebody else might feel about you. If you don't get up and move on that thing today, it won't be enough. It'll take you far, but trust and believe it's got its limitations. I want to provide opportunities for him to learn, fail, and grow. The universe will. The universe will provide us with every opportunity to learn, fail, and grow that we need. And anything that is an extension of us, anything that is in our care, is also in the care of the universe, also in the care of the divine being that sustains the universe. I want him to be able to look up to his daddy, to have full trust in me, and know I will have his back no matter what. I need you to remember he has to read all of this about his father when he is older. Please be respectful to all. That's him. The internet is where many discontent, many socially inequipped, many economically challenged people have gathered in one space. Many of the users have not developed understanding. Many of the users have no idea what it's like to understand something that did not originate within the illusionary track of their ego. So to think that you finna get on here and give somebody a pep talk and excuse yourself from the madness, you are not that smart. You're not that wise. Your words don't weigh that much. People are gonna treat you the way they treat themselves. So when you make a mistake, when it's you that drops the ball, they're going to drive you into the ground the same way they drive themselves into the ground if that's what they do. They're going to forgive you the same way they forgive themselves if that's what they do. They're going to make fun of you the way they make fun of themselves if that's what they do. Or they're going to cover and protect and shield your identity from this mistake the same as they do for themselves. But you can trust and believe they're not going to follow your guidance and your counsel. They're not going to spare you. They're not going to spare your kid. These people are going to open their mouth and say the most outlandish things because they want attention. They're going to have an impact and an effect on those who are not secure within their identity. And here we can see today that not even millions of dollars in heavy roles on big screens can keep you from being insecure, from being externally minded, from having an emotional reaction to things that you should be overlooking. And you thought money was the fix. You thought fame and a busy schedule or a bunch of stuff to do and people liking you was the fix. Understand, they like you when you're doing what they want you to do. But the minute that they get word that you've done what they never thought you would or what you said you never would do, they're going to flip on you just like they flip on themselves. And unless you grew dependent on their pedestal, you'll be all right. Lock in.